So close of play of the fourth day of the first test between India and England in Chennai. It's been an eventful day. Crikey, we've seen, 15 wickets or thereabouts fall, 39 for 1. Was the Indian second innings score. That's the important one, really, to tell you. Rohit Sharma bowled by Leach. An absolute beauty. I mean, unplayable delivery. That spun from around about leg stump and hit off. It was just, the sort of ball that you might get on this pitch. Not all the time, but the sort of thing that sends a bit of a shiver through the spine of the batting side. Anyway, he was the only one to fall in those overs that were bowled. But even so, a major blow struck. Gill's 14 not out, and Pujara is on 8 not out. 39 to win. It means India 386 to win. I can't see that happening. But they are at least England 9 wickets away from winning. They were bowled out for 178. I'll start with India's first innings. That was going this morning as well. They lost actually their last 4 wickets for 80. The new ball was taken. Wickets for Leach and also for Anderson. So 80 for 4 they added. That meant they were bowled out for 337. So 241 behind. England chose to bat again. Rory Burns is out just before lunch. The first ball of the innings. I think just the third time. Andy Zoltz will confirm. I think it's the third time in cricket history or thereabouts, so an opening batsman has been dismissed first ball of an innings by a spinner. But anyway, he was caught by Rahane off Ashwin without scoring. And then basically the top half of England's batting got on with it. They played very positively, just looking to build on that lead of 241. They were going very nicely until Ollie Pope was out for 28, playing a reverse sweep. That was 130 for 6. And then they'd been going at 4.5 and over. Suddenly they slammed the brakes on. And the next 18 overs added just 48 runs, losing those last 4 wickets at a rate about 2.5 and over. So lots of talking points, of course, about that. Has Root gone on too long? Has he taken too much time out of the game? All these things, of course, will be settled. I must mention that Ravi Ashwin took 6 for 61 in that innings. So when they were all out, they set India 420 to win. That, of course, will be a record score for a team batting last to overhaul. And Rohit Sharma, having hit Archer for 6, then got this absolute jaffer from Leach that hit his off stump, and he was out for 12. So, Michael Vaughan, what's going on today? When you review it like that, you realise, actually, crikey, I'm glad it's up at 4 o'clock, because we would have missed so much otherwise. But the bottom line is England need 9 wickets to win.
Yeah, I would say that England have won every single session barring that last one. And they've played incredible cricket to get themselves in a position of dominance. I just thought the last session they seemed to just get a bit confused with the way that they wanted to play, and I don't know whether it was at tea time they've had a chat and in the back of their minds someone said, India can still win this game, and it kind of feared them because certainly when they came out to bat after tea, Dominic Bess and Josh Buttler, it wasn't the same approach that would happen in the afternoon session, where I thought they were played with great intent. Ollie Pope came out straight away, aggressive. Joe Root, unbelievable for his 40. Something happened at tea. Don't know what conversations were had, the coach, the captain, the senior players. In my opinion, they have batted on too long. They could have got to a similar score, even a 15-20 run less, quicker. They have to get the 10 wickets, and on a pitch that's doing plenty, this Indian team against the spinners, I know Jack Leach has just produced a peach to get rid of Rohit Sharma. I think they'll fancy batting against the spinners on the last day wicket. They're a high quality batting unit, and it will need a Jimmy Anderson, Jofra Archer, a bit of Ben Stokes, probably 1 or 2 really good catches. You still feel England are favourites to win the game, but I think they could have been a bit further ahead. And I've just said on the social, I think Virat Kohli will be delighted that he's got 9 wickets in the shed to bat out for a draw on day 5. When you think about where they've been in the Test match, Indy, if you go back a day and a half ago, the drop catch of Jofra Archer off Washington Sundar, he played great for India. It could have been that India would have been chasing 500 plus with over a day and a half left. You've got no chance in that situation. But India now going to day 5 with a chance of getting out of this Test match. And if they do so, Aggers, with how well England have played, I really do feel it's going to have a massive effect on the series. Very similar to 2016 when England played great in the first test, couldn't get the win, they ended up losing the series 4-0. India will get better and better in this test match series, so England have to win this game.
Well, Ishant Sharma's off his long run. In the post-match TV interview, quotes, "It all depends how we start tomorrow. If we get a good start, we can chase this down."
Oh, wow.
So he's talking big. You can't see that happening, can you? I mean, it is one theory for you, because we were chucking out every kind of possible explanation that we were thinking of. I think the hardness of the ball might be something that was in Root's mind, but just the thought that it is really hard to see India getting these runs. I mean, really impossibly difficult to do so. So therefore, in Root's mind, he should be able to keep the men around the bat all the time, which is where you're likely to get the wickets. But you are on this pitch, you need his short legs, you need his silly points, you need his slip. And so therefore, if in the back of your mind, if someone does get in and starts to play a few shots, you might be inclined to drop them back because that target actually isn't so far away, or there is the time for them to possibly get it. In this situation, it's difficult to see England being under that sort of pressure. Would you think, or not?
I can't see India getting the runs, and I think Ishant's probably just playing a little bit of kidology to try and throw that seed into the minds of the England team that India may come out and have a go at them. You mentioned the fielders around the bat. That's why I'm perplexed of the last half an hour of play when you've got Jack Leach with a short leg and a slip. He's got 3 on the onside and mid-wicket in place. You want the right-hander to try and work it through the onside, surely, with the ball spinning so much. Cover point on the boundary. Dominic Best bowling in the last over of the day. He's got a leg slip finally in and a short leg. Got cover point on the boundary, Eggers. This is an off-spinner spinning it square on an absolute Bunsen to a right-hander. If you're getting hit out to cover point, and even if you are getting hit, it's a bad ball. It's just 4 runs. It's not a problem. You've got to put your fielders in the positions where you believe the ball's going to go in the air when you're winning a test match like this. And I just feel from looking at this last session, it worries me that England have got themselves into a bit of a fearful mentality rather than just go for it. Be really aggressive, be really positive. Don't worry about the fact that Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Pujara could play 1 or 2 great shots. Great, it's not a problem, because if you're playing shots on a wicket like this, there has to be a better opportunity for you as the fielding unit to get a wicket. I think if you get someone like Pujara and he goes into his bunker and goes, right, I'm just going to nullify you, what he'll do, he'll dance down and hit a few, and England might spread the field. They don't need to. No. They've got so many runs and they've batted for so long for that reason that they do not need to spread the field. What you want the Virats and you want the Pujaras to kind of dance down and play the odd shot, because that's possibly the way of getting them out. So it's just that last session. Up until this last session, England have had, from my opinion, a 10 out of 10 performance, and it's still very close to that 10 out of 10 performance. It's about 9.8 because of that last session. They've knocked 2.2 off their end of term mark because of that last session. Something got into there. I don't know what they had for tea, but something affected them.
Do you think it does, just opening a window into Root's mind, the two things, the defensive field placings you talked about and the batting on? Do you think that he is concerned about Leach and Bess?
He must be. He must be, and he must have been a little bit scared of Pant. The way Rishabh Pant went and attacked Jack Leach. I think Jack Leach has coped with that fine. He's had one player that's completely dominated him. To all the other Indian players, he bowled nicely. He got a couple in the first innings this morning. He's already got Rohit Sharma, so I think Jack Leach should be in a confident mood. It just worries me that they've got themselves into a negative mindset from being so positive and playing so well. They should have enough to create chances tomorrow, but you just feel that they could have had India 3 or 4 down tonight, and that would have been game over. That would have been game, set and match. India now arrive on the last day, and I just know as a batting unit, I've had these situations in Test cricket where we've arrived on the last day 1 down, and it just gives yourself, you just think, wait a minute, 1 partnership, 140 to 45 over partnership, and you look around the dressing room, you kind of say to each other, right, who's it going to be? It's not about who's going to get you 150. Who's going to hang around for 45 overs with someone else to nullify this test match? And if they do that, India, I think they'll get out the test match. But it's the kind of wicket that if you get one, you'll get a second and you get a third quickly. And it will be very, very difficult for the Indians to have that 45 over partnership. But it does give India a sniff. And that's what I think England have given India a bit of a boost in energy going into tomorrow, thinking we can get out of this test match with something.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have winning draws in test matches, but actually you can take a lot out of a fighting draw. And if you are that team that look destined to lose and you save the game, that gives you a big lift. And similarly, if you draw a game that you really should have won, that can give you a bit of a knock.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look at someone like Ravi Ashwin. He ended up with 6 in the second innings. You just don't want to give the senior pros of the opposing team a lift and a boost at the start of a test series. England have played great. They've got an unbelievable opportunity of going 1-0 up. Let's be honest, none of us gave them a cat in hell's chance in India of winning this series. If they can go 1-0 up, I still feel that India will come back strong, but they've just got to take this opportunity because they've played so well, they've done so much hard work. I think you're right. I think if England are sat in 24 hours time in that dressing room and it's 0-0, I think that will be a massive play in the series. I don't think England come back from that. I think it'll be very, very difficult because India will get stronger and stronger as the series goes. If you go 1-0 down, it doesn't matter who you are, England will get a massive boost. Josh Buttler goes home, Ben Foakes comes in. I don't think that'll make a massive play because you're 1-0 up in the series. If it's 0-0 and you're changing your team, and India have got this boost of getting out of a test match that they shouldn't have got anything from, it could be a long last 3 games for the England team.
You mentioned Ishant Sharma. He's, I think, the 3rd Indian seamer now to take 300 Test wickets, which is a pretty good effort when you spend a long time bowling on those sorts of tracks. But he's a quick bowler who's just got better and better in recent years, and his reverse swing bowling now is as effective as virtually anybody. And the Dan Lawrence dismissal, a great exhibition of that. I know it kept horribly low and basically went under his bat, but actually when you watch the replay of it, if you ever wonder what reverse swing is, and you see the shiny side on the wrong side of the ball, you just see it just fade in. It's a perfect example of how to bowl reverse swing. Yeah,
he's a class act. I mean, any bowler that comes through the Indian system and is trying to bowl quick, I have ultimate respect for. When you think about the pitches that they would have bowled on from an early age, the Jasprit Bumrahs, the Ishant Sharmas, Shamis now, Yadav, huge amount of respect for wanting to be a quick bowler. You know, completely understand wanting to be a quick bowler in English conditions with the Duke ball. It moves around. You think, well, yeah, you'd have a piece of that. But in India, on those flat, dusty wickets, and primarily most teams that you play in India, whether it's junior cricket, international cricket, are made up of spin bowlers. So usually you're only one of 2 in a team. You know, so you have to do a bit of the hard yards. So yeah, he's got better and better. Love his action. Love the way he runs in. You know, he's got that pace that you need. He's got the skill levels now. He's got the cutters. He's got a good strong bouncer, and he looks like the kind of character that you want in your team. You're throwing the ball, he doesn't look to me like he has those off spells. He now runs in for every spell, and he knows exactly what he's delivering. So I think there's a few more wickets left in Ishant's tank. Yeah, he could get to 400 easily.
Yeah. So let's last thought from you then. What do you reckon tomorrow? What are we going to be talking about tomorrow evening?
Well, I still think England are going to win. I think they've got enough in terms of the pitch to work with. I think it's the opening session is going to be absolutely crucial, because if India can see out till lunch and only lose 1 wicket, I think it's going to be very difficult for the England side, because that second new ball, what they're going to have with it, 20 overs, is that about right? 20 something overs with the second new ball. I think if England have them, if they have them 5 down, they've still got a chance with that second new ball, because things could escalate quickly. But I think if they don't get wickets in the opening session, the ball will get softer. That means one of the real guns is in, and if one of those guns gets in, like a Pujara, a Shubman Gill or a Virat Kohli, I don't think they'll be making the same mistakes like they did in the first inning. So I do think the morning session, England need to get 3 or 4 wickets, and I think that'll be game over. If they don't, I fancy India to sneak the draw.
Yeah, so England win, draw, India win, tie. in order of likelihood, you think, or at least we're all guessing. Who knows? Who knows? That's the beauty of it. Thanks, Michael. We'll catch you tomorrow. It has been a fascinating day. All these wickets falling and so on. It really has. It's been very entertaining indeed, and it's set up this outstanding last day tomorrow. We'll get the thoughts from Prakash Wakanka in a moment or two. He's sitting in Pune, of course, up in the hills there outside Mumbai, watching it from an Indian perspective. However, a little closer to home, down in his shed in Streatham, we have Andy's Holtzman, who needs a bit of grit out on that garden path, I think, when you go back up, Andy. It's not very nice up here. What have you got stato-wise for this? That Rory Burns-Ashwin one was an interesting one to start with, isn't it?
Yes. So Burns was dismissed by a spinner off the first ball of the team's innings, and both Cricinfo and StatsGuru have confirmed that was only the 3rd time that's happened in the entire history of Test cricket, that an opener's been dismissed first ball of his team's innings by a spinner. One occasion was in 1888. England's Bobby Peel got Alec Bannerman of Australia out, and Bert Vogler, the South African wrist spinner, got out Tom Hayward, the great Surrey batsman, at the Oval in 1907. So a very, very rare.
Love a Peel mention. You can't beat that. What a cricketer he must have been.
Joe Root, 40 more runs, batted sublimely again today. 684 runs in his last 3 Test matches. I looked at the most productive 3 Test sequences in the history of Test cricket, and Joe Root is 10th on that list. And the other players in that top 10 are some of the greatest batsmen the game has ever seen. Brian Lara in 9th, Don Bradman 6th and 8th on that list, Gary Sobers in 5th, Graham Gooch in 3rd, Kumar Sangakkara 2nd and 7th most productive runs, and leading the way Wally Hammond, who's in 4th and 1st place, 779 run 3-match sequence. So Root, with his form this winter, has been absolutely extraordinary statistically. Jack Leach took a fine wicket. Rohit Sharma bowled for the first time by a spinner in Test cricket since 2015.
Really?
He's played 23 Tests since then and faced almost 200 overs of spin without being bowled. He's averaged 67 against spin in that time before.
Well,
Leach
I think if he faced that ball 100 times, it would still bowl him, wouldn't it?
Would get him a lot of times. And Leach's second innings statistics, as I mentioned just a little while ago, are absolutely fantastic for England. He's now taken 33 wickets in the second innings of Tests, averaged 20.2. And looking back at England bowlers since 1960, of the 40 bowlers for England who've taken 30 second innings wickets, Leach has the best average. And I'm going to extend that stat to bowlers with 20 wickets for you, Aggers.
Yeah.
Because leading the way, Ken Higgs.
Oh, lovely.
Who he was your old coach, wasn't he?
My old captain, my old coach, my old mentor. What a character. What an amazing bowler.
I
think about him saying he took a 5-wicket haul in first-class cricket at the age, I'm going to say 50, but I think it felt about right. I think it was against Warwickshire.
But that I'll have to check that for you. But his Test career, only played 15 Tests, took 71 wickets, averaged 20, and
he was a great bowler.
Averaged 19 in second innings. So Leach is right up that list, and England will be hoping for some more from him. Ishant Sharma, as you mentioned, the 6th Indian and 3rd Indian seamer to reach 300 Test wickets in his 98th Test. He's the slowest of the bowlers who've reached 300 to reach that in terms of the number of matches taken. But his recent form, as you were saying, has been superb. The last since 2018, averaging under 20 with the ball in his last 20-odd Tests. The quickest of 300 wickets was a man who got 6 wickets today, Ravichandran Ashwin, who passed Ian Botham on the all-time Test wicket takers list. He's now up to 386, and he ended the match with 9 for 207. He had 1 for 120 at one point in the first innings, got a couple of late wickets there, so 8 for 87 towards the end of the game, combining the end of the first and the second inning. So he has some form and confidence to take into the rest of the series.
So let's hear more about England's approach today. Simon Mann has been speaking to the bowling coach, John Lewis.
Yeah, we're really happy where we're at. Obviously, with that many runs on the board, we're ahead of the game. We've played some really good cricket in this game, and we're confident that we can create enough chances to win the game tomorrow. So yeah, I think we're in a really strong position, and we just need to work hard tomorrow and show the right character and do the basics really, really well tomorrow. And I think, regardless of the fact that India have got some really strong batters and some great batsmen in their side, I think we've got enough in the tank to make sure that we can win. I think the guys were positive in the way they played, and I don't think it's a straightforward pitch to just go and be reckless in trying to score runs. But we were very comfortable with the amount of overs we wanted to bowl tonight. And that obviously gives us a bit of a bite with a second new ball tomorrow if required. I think 20 overs or so with the new ball tomorrow. So in terms of the position of the game, we're really comfortable with where we're at.
Was the plan to get where you arrived, around about 419 ahead, just over 100 overs to bowl, or would you have liked more time to bowl at India?
That was about the plan. That's where we were thinking all the way through the day. And like I said, it's the pitch is good but tricky. So accelerating against experienced Indians in India isn't always straightforward. So I think you saw the guys play pretty positively and with good intent to score, but within the constraints of the conditions.
There seemed to be a clear change in tactics, though, when Ollie Pope was out. It was 4.5 and over until then, and then it turned into 2.5 over for the rest of the innings. Was there a sort of conversation about that? Actually, we need to change course here.
No, not necessarily. I think that the guys just tried to play the situation as best they could. You know, it was, again, it wasn't straightforward on a turning wicket with Ashwin bowling well. It's not straightforward to just go out and smack the ball around all over the place. You know, Joe's in the form of his life and he scored at a really good rate. You know, which makes he makes the game look a lot easier than other players. So we're very comfortable and confident in the position we're in.
There'll be a lot of focus on the spinners tomorrow. What sort of role do you think the pace bowlers will have to play tomorrow?
Well, I think you saw with the Indian side, they mixed their spinners and their seamers really nicely. There's a patch on the wicket where, so I think it's about 7 metres down, 7 metre length, on just outside off from the pavilion end here, where there's some variable bounce and there's some puffs of dust sometimes where the wicket's breaking up. So, and there will also be reverse swing. We've seen reverse swing throughout this game. But the pace of the wicket is that the ball doesn't really carry that much to the keeper, so you have to try and beat the batsman on the inside of his bat rather than on the outside. So, you know, our fast bowlers will have a job to play, and they just need to really, all the bowlers really need to do their basics really well tomorrow, and I think we'll come out on top.
For more insight from Jonathan Agnew, Michael Vaughan and the rest of the Test Match special team, subscribe and listen to the TMS podcast via the BBC Sounds app.
Let's nip across to Pune and to Prakash. And, well, Prakash, what a great final day we've got in prospect.
Well, I think, I guess that prospect of this fifth day was, I think, more or less firmed up at the end of the second day. I know why you say fascinating, because in recent times, India have pulled a rabbit out of the hat, but there's no way that they're going to be able to win this. That I can say with complete confidence. In terms of can they hang on for 100-odd overs or just under 100 overs? Doesn't look likely, does it? Given the puff of dust, all the red soil, and as we just heard with Jack Leach's statistics and his ability to bowl, and of course best bowling well, yeah, it's a question of how long can India prolong it. I think that's what it is as we go into the last day.
You're sounding very down there, Prakash. You always do this to us. It'd be an interesting challenge of their defensive technique, won't it? And I wonder if that is why, we'll come on to in a moment, I'm sure, to Root's tactics and why he did bat on a little longer than certainly a lot of people would have expected. But for all the wonderful records that these Indian batsmen have, defending a turning, bouncing, exploding ball on the last day of a test pitch in India is something that they won't have done for a while.
No, absolutely right. In fact, if you think back, Aggers, again to that Rajkot test match, 170 odd for 6, saving that game, Virat Kohli playing very uncharacteristically subdued but solid innings. I think the wicket was nowhere near as bad as this one is in terms of assisting spin. And I think the only other game that comes to my mind way back when Sunil Gavaskar batted left-handed at Bangalore against Iqbal Qasim to try and negate the turn. Yes, he batted left-handed.
So actually took guard left-handed?
Yes,
the whole innings was left-handed?
Yeah.
How extraordinary.
To the latter part of his innings. You're right. I can't see this happening. If it does, someone's going to be an absolute hero. I just don't see anyone except Pujara, and he too, I think, is going to struggle.
Interesting. Now, I was listening, obviously, to the Indian commentary on the telly, and they had England declaring around about tea time. I thought they're not, But anyway, that's what commentators do, don't we? We all talk these things up, and then the camera starts panning into the dressing room. What's the captain doing? But I guess by and large, people. I mean, we were too. We were surprised that England batted on for so long. It seems to have, given India more of opportunity to save the game, perhaps.
Well, I guess I tweeted about this a little while ago, and I'm saying if England can't get 10 wickets in 107 overs, what's to say they'll get them in 125 or 130?
Yep,
the
that's a fair point.
reality is that the situation is such that they've got the bowlers, they've got the wicket, they've got the ascendancy, and maybe now they're just feeling a little more comfortable saying really to go at 4 and over for 107 overs, not going to happen. So they've taken that option out of the equation. Only thing that surprised me in the last half an hour, 40 minutes, why is there a deep point? I can understand a deep mid-wicket or a deep fielder at square leg for a hook or a lofted shot. Deep point?
Yeah, we've been there as well.
I think your skipper's got to just put more people around the bat.
Yeah,
and finish it earlier.
And show that he has faith in the spinners. That's the key. Because it's going to be a really key day for Bess and for Leach. And Root's going to bowl himself, I guess, tomorrow too.
I would not be surprised at all, and I think he should. He probably underbowled himself a bit in the first innings, maybe, especially when Sundar was batting. And I just feel that, England have to win this game, and I think where Root is coming out at is he wants to get both Leach and Bess in the best frame of mind going into the rest of the 3 test matches, because that is crucial for England, not just to win this one, but then to build on that momentum with a World Championship final spot, amongst other things, in the balance.
Just a last word then about Kohli, who I think we're all agreed has had a pretty quiet match so far, and I mean quiet for him in the field as well. He hasn't been bossing things around quite so much until yesterday, and then the last shot I saw from the television from Chennai was him going out and having some throwdowns on the boundary edge. So it just seems as if he's got the bit between his teeth, because if there's pressure on him or not, but after what happened in Australia, he's picked up the reins again. He wouldn't want to go down to a defeat in his first test match back.
Yeah, I mean, he never would. But I think the only time, at least on television, I've been watching the same images as you have, I guess, was the time that he sort of exulted in that old Kohli style was when Ashwin got a wicket at the first ball. Other than that, he's been fairly quiet.
He has been quiet.
There's been a fair amount of criticism of his field placements, mind you, and his bowling changes, which I'm sure you must have followed. Yes. But, this is the man. He is who he is. And for all the criticism we have, maybe fatherhood has just mellowed him a little. He's getting into the game. Breaks are never good. We can say all that in his defense. But his greatness will be tested tomorrow. And indeed, if India go down 1-0, which I think they will, then for the next 3 test matches as well.
All right. Well, that'll be very interesting to see. Now then, on the Cricket Social and on the BBC Sport website and the app, we've had a vote, as we talked about this last night, didn't we, Prakash, to find out the greatest Indian Test team of all time. Can you believe we've had over 200,000 votes?
Wow.
Yeah, that's 200,000 people who are after you, Prakash, because some of the selections that you made, because you helped select the shortlist. Should we go through the final then? The final results.
I'd love to.
Well, you got a lot of, obviously, you helped select it, but I think a lot of these actually will concur with you, with Gavaskar and Sehwag, who said, didn't you, opening the batting? You had Dravid at 3 and Tendulkar at 4. And then you did go for Kohli, I think, at 5, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Now, where we both had a difference was that the one with the most votes was the keeper. And I suppose inevitably with these things, it's usually the younger, most recent one who gets the nod.
Dhoni, did?
Dhoni's got the nod. You went for Kamani, I went for Engineer, but there you go. But I suspect most of the people who voted never heard of Farooq Engineer, if we're honest, with the age these days. So MS Dhoni gets the nod. Kapil Dev, the all-rounder. Now, we spinners, this is, I mean, all the selection of Indian spinners they could have gone for, but we only allowed 2, didn't we? And I think you went both of these, Kumble and Bedi, did you say?
No, I went Kumble and Prasanna.
Ah, okay.
And they probably didn't hear of Prasanna either.
Well, there you go. But Bedi wins the race, and I mean, but what a lovely bowler. I'm rather glad Bishan's in there. Just
and of course he played so much cricket in England, didn't he?
Yeah, but the old-fashioned loop and the colourful turbans and the all of that. He was someone. If you watch cricket in the 70s and early 80s, you will have loved Bishan. His fielding was appalling. His batting was a bit of a joke, but this man could just bowl with this incredible loop and control and deception, wasn't it? And he would say to a batsman, "We hit him for 6. Go on, you do that again. Here's the same ball. Just try and do it again." And it was just he would hold it back a little more, wouldn't he? I was lucky enough. I've worked quite a bit with Bishan over the years on the radio, and he's a character. I'm pleased.
Terrific.
I'm pleased Bishan's made the final 11 here, and the quickies. Who did you go for with the quickies?
I had Bumrah and Zahir Khan.
There you go. Well, they're both the 2 that have made it too. So Zahir and
not
Bumrah.
Bad. I got 9.
You got there, despite Ishant getting his 300th wicket today. Last thought on that. I mean, that's a good effort, isn't it? He's only the 3rd Indian quick bowler to do that.
Yes, I think one of those that we would say, without being a superstar, has been a really solid part of Indian cricket for the time that he's played. Injury plagued, as many of these fast bowlers are, but really someone who tries hard and, very importantly, just a lovely, lovely boy.
There you go. Nice place to end it, Prakash. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Who knows? I don't think you'll be one up.
Private wager, England 1 up before tea tomorrow.
Before tea? God,
yes.
Oh, dude. You used to be so much more optimistic than this, Prakash.
Oh, well...
Go and have a nice glass of Indian Sula. That'll cheer you up.
All righty, take care now.
Talk soon, Prakash. Bye bye.